We're here at the Center for Avian and Exotic Medicine, and we have got 4 12 or 13-day-old baby bunnies who were rescued along with their mom and dad. Mom and dad are downstairs. These little guys just opened their eyes for the first time 2 days ago?
Yes.
2 days ago. They're so cute. And this is their nest that is made of mom's hair. So how long until these guys are big enough to potentially be up for adoption?
Well, generally we wait for them to go through their full weaning process because they are still nursing from mom.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize is that rabbits nurse 1 to 2 times a day maximum. A lot of times in the wild, mom will just nurse them once in the morning and then she leaves them for the day. But we want to make sure that they're fully weaned, that they start eating on their own, and as they increase their eating, they'll decrease their dependency on nursing from mom. Mom will also start reaching a point where she'll produce less milk, she'll become less tolerant of having the kids around. So generally that process is pretty much completed by about 8 weeks, and that's about the time that we think about weaning, separating from mom. Sometimes a little bit earlier, depending on how quickly they grow and what size they are. But generally we look at that as sort of our general target point where they're fully weaned, fully eating on their own, and able to move off into their own direction.
Got it.
We do try to keep rabbits in pairs, if possible. We recommend that people who own rabbits always try to have at least 2. They're certainly welcome to have more if they'd like to. So in situations like this, we may even consider branching them off into 2 pairs and trying to let them find homes that way. So they can stay together.
And when they're bonded, will they be for life or?
Ideally they're bonded for life and they will spend the rest of their lives together. Now that being said, even if that didn't work out, we'd still recommend if somebody were to adopt them that they would consider adopting another rabbit to be a partner bunny for it. The animal shelter here in New York City at any given point has a number of rabbits. I think right now there are probably more than 50 rabbits looking for homes right now. And the shelter does a great job in helping the community and taking them in. And then it's a matter of them finding the right homes.
Right. And before they get put up for adoption, will they be spayed or neutered?
They'll probably be too young.
Okay.
Generally, we aren't doing spay or neuter procedures on them till they are at least 5 months old. So generally the way that works is adoption would be with the agreement that if somebody were to take them, we'd expect to see them back in a few months after that to perform surgeries.
Got it. And do you know how many boys and girls we have here?
Right now, we believe they're 4 girls.
Oh, no way.
And the reason I say believe is because they're so small and there's a little bit of subjectivity in determining their actual gender. When they're that young, boys and girls look almost identical, and it takes a really trained eye to make a best guess assessment. So right now, they look like they're all girls, but they're starting to reach an age where there's going to be a bit more distinction in boy or girl parts, and then we'll be able to make a better call.
Right.
When it comes to spaying and neutering, as you mentioned, we're advocates of both for population control, both because the shelters are overwhelmed with unowned and surrendered rabbits, but also for health reasons, especially in the females.
Huh.
There's a high risk of developing reproductive tract diseases in rabbits. And so we're big advocates of making sure the girls get spayed. Most often people will neuter the boys, and that's for behavior control, that's for breeding control. In both genders, sometimes spaying and neutering is ideal for behavior modification as well. It's also a big factor in litter box training. We find that a lot of these rabbits are very good about litter box habits, just like a cat, but when they're spayed and neutered, they're even better. Pretty much perfect most of the time.
Wow. And will mom and dad be bonded?
Yes, mom and dad will be put back together. They were separated temporarily. dad was neutered, and then once babies are weaned and big enough, the goal is then to get mom and dad back together.
They're so tiny.
And you can just see at this age too, they're just starting to explore with their eyes open. They're just starting to nibble on things and taste things and be able to kind of see the world.
Oh my God.
We're pretty much hands off the first 2 weeks, letting mom just do her thing. This one's licking my finger right now. We pretty much let mom just do her thing. Low stress, quiet time, just making sure everybody was healthy, making sure mom was feeding them, making sure that they were gaining weight properly and growing at a normal rate, and then letting her do her thing. And now is the point where we start increasing our human interaction.
Got it.
This is the point to socialize them to people, to desensitize them to be around people and noises, to do what we can to encourage them becoming really great pets.
Do we know where mom and dad were found?
I'd have to check in the records.
It's okay.
I don't know for sure off the top of my head. It may have been that they were brought in by owners as well, previous owners that couldn't keep them.
Right.
Sometimes the scenario is that when people have a boy and a girl together, they will continuously produce young. And then sometimes somebody says, okay, we've had enough of this. And they decide, rather than having one or both of them fixed, they decide just not to keep them after that. All right, let's give everybody their fair chance. Had a
This
little
one
bit
with
of
the black
touch and-
stripe do we got here?
Cute, right?
So cute.
And it's funny because this one's all white. This one has the faintest black stripe. This is our medium, and this is our most bold. So they all wound up with similar kind of pigment changes in the ears and the face,
Right.
but it's sort of like white, light, medium, and most bold. And that's how we've told them apart since the very beginning.
And how did we pick their very cute names?
Staff generally come up with names.
So cute.
Staff generally make up names based on what we think fits. The rabbits that come to us from the animal shelter are often named by shelter staff. And that just depends on the mood of the shelter staff. We've had rabbits come in with a Game of Thrones run. They've named all the rabbits for Game of Thrones. We've had them come in with Star Wars names. It really just depends. We try to be creative.
Love that.
Sometimes they've come in with what we call people names. Names that you wouldn't think you'd ever name a pet, like Michael or Michelle, or names like that that we generally think aren't necessarily applied to pets. But like I said, you can see they're now getting very curious. They're getting very active. They're learning what the world is right now. Of course, they have no desire to leave the nest yet.
Right.
As far as they know, this is home. They'll get curious. They'll get more adventurous. Of course, like all baby animals, it's going to quickly become nap time. After all that activity and the handling and picking them up and rearranging their nest, they're going to start saying, you know what, nap time. This one looks like he's starting to nibble on a little hay as well. We make sure at this age they have plenty of alfalfa hay available as well. It's one of the better hays to have them. It's not a true hay, but it's ideal for the amount of protein and calcium. It's ideal for mom to have that while she's lactating and nursing the babies. And then they actually make special baby rabbit pellets that we'll put them on as well, that are formulated more nutritionally appropriate for rabbits this age.
Got it. For commenters wondering, mom and dad are both here at the center. They're just downstairs. And the babies are still living with mom as they're nursing. They're perfect.
Do you want me to start? Okay, I think we're only gonna have boys. The one girl that I think we were supposed to have turned out to be a boy.
Okay.
So the rats are still iffy, but it's marked off as boys in the system. So okay, let's go with pig. Go with pig? Sure.
Christine. They are about 12 or 13 days old. Just opened their eyes for the first time.
You can see who's going to be trouble.
Yeah. It's got to be one in the bunch.
Always. Oh, see that? Starting to learn to do a little bit of active jumping, what we call binkying in rabbits. Yep.
Well, thank you.